Welcome, everybody, to our very special webinar all about standing out in today's market by leveraging Matterport to win listings and attract more buyers. We're so thrilled that you all joined us today and are spending your time to come and learn more about some amazing solutions we have for you. First, some housekeeping items. Please submit your questions to the Q&A tab on your screen. We want to hear from you, so don't be shy. The session will be recorded and available on demand. We'll be sharing it out to everybody who registered tomorrow. And don't drop off before the end of the session. Those of you who stay on will be in the running for 4 free giveaways, and everyone will get an exclusive promo code for $100 off your next order. I'm excited to be one of your hosts today. My name is Kate Remillard. I'm on the marketing team with VHT Studios and Matterport. We also have Lucy Edwards here today, our Director of Strategic Engagement. Most of you probably know Lucy. Along with her monthly talk show, Lunch with Lucy, that we do together. Lucy is out and about in many industry events. Like we just said, she's a panelist at the NYC Expo tomorrow. So anybody who's going to be in New York City tomorrow, go see Lucy.
Thank you.
So now I'd like to introduce our experts and special guests for today. Vince Calora, Director of Operations at VHT and Matterport. Vince is our true subject matter expert, and he's our go-to for all photography and media information. Welcome, Vince.
Thank you.
Next, we have 2 agents who are very familiar with using Matterport to market and sell their listings. Tamika Neely Farmbry with Alphent Wissahickon Realtors in Philadelphia. Welcome, Tamika.
Well, thank you.
And we also have Brad Zibung with us from Compass here in Chicago. So thank you, Brad, for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So quickly, I'll just go through the agenda. We're going to do a quick intro to VHT and Matterport. We'll review some stats around trends we're seeing in today's market. Then we'll talk about how VHT can equip you for success. We'll end with some Q&A and our announcements at the end. Sound good? Okay, so we'll get started and I'll hand it over to Vince.
Awesome. And I think I successfully unmuted. Yes, I did. Cool. So hello, everyone. As some of you might already know, VHT was acquired by Matterport last year. And since joining forces, we've been really busy tuning our offerings to provide more options for everyone here, as well as guiding the company as a whole in successfully navigating sort of the nuances of working with agents, brokers, and now photographers. Our goal as a company, right, like what we really target at VHT Studios and now Matterport is we want to improve how people interact with physical properties in a digital world, right? There's so much that we can do with our digital twin technology. There's so much value that media brings to our listings. And really, why, right? Because we want to help buyers find the perfect homes and sellers find the perfect buyers. So this extends well beyond the world of real estate, as Matterport works across a wide range of sectors to help companies manage their physical spaces remotely, not just market them. Matterport technology has been used to scan more than 22 billion square feet so far. So what do we want everyone to take away from today's session? We want to share with you how to rise above the competition, how to really stand out and be more successful by using professional media and leveraging all of the technology, everything that we have to offer. So let's do like a quick check-in, right? Like, where do we stand today? A lot's changed in the last couple of years for agents. We've all found a way through the pandemic, and now the market's changing again. And there's way more competition for fewer listings. So looking at some of this data that we pulled from Realtor, the spring season's off to an even slower start than previous years, as there's significantly fewer houses coming on the market versus previous years at the same time. And in almost every market, new listings are way down, but days on market are up. And active listings are up because they're sort of, stuck, that lagginess. One thing's clear to me, one thing's clear to everybody who's looking at this: homes aren't just selling themselves anymore. So what does that give us, right? Sellers are more anxious than ever. There's way more competition for agents. Agents are competing harder to win those listings. And I'm going to turn it over to Lucy real quick, who could speak with some of our special guests on this specific topic.
Well, thank you, Vince. Yeah, now it is a great time to check in with our guests to find out what's happening in their field. And Kate, let us also launch our first poll so we can hear from everyone in the audience. And please participate and ask questions. So Tamika, let's start with you. Tamika, well, first of all, I would love to introduce you. Tamika and Brad, first of all, thank you so much for being here with us today and for joining us. We really, truly appreciate it. And both of you are in two different markets. So
Yes,
what do you see out there in terms of number of listings and days on the market? And do you think it's still seller's market? So Tamika, take it away.
All right. I am in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and the market is totally different here because sometimes if you're in the really hot area, you're still going to get multiple listings. You're going to get multiple offers, but you may not get your 15, but you're sure enough you're going to get more than one. But if you're in certain areas, it is a buyer's market. So it's kind of, different. We're like area by area.
I get it. So what about you, Brad? What would you say about Chicagoland and where in Chicago you are?
I'm in the city proper. My office is based in Bucktown. I live in Wicker Park and work mostly in the city, neighborhoods from South Loop up to Rogers Park. I agree with what Tamika's saying. In Chicago, it's very situational now. It's, neighborhood by neighborhood, property type by property type. A lot of locations and property types are still seeing multiple offers. Yeah, instead of last year where it was 15, maybe this year it's 5. And then other neighborhoods, those kind of, that are sort of like collar neighborhoods around downtown, high rises. A lot of those aren't quite as popular as they had been, particularly pre-COVID. So that's kind of how things are shaping up for us here right now.
Yeah, and according to our tools, it's definitely seller's market. Yeah, 130 out of 146 were saying that it's seller's market. Interesting.
So I'm actually going to break script for a second. Surprise, surprise. And I'm going to ask the few folks who voted seller's market. I'm sorry, which one was the non-dominant, right?
Buyer's market.
It's the buyer's market.
So yeah, the few folks who threw in buyer's market, I would love to see if you want to throw in the Q&A section why you feel that it's a buyer's market. That'll get right over to us and it won't plug up the chat. This is just complete intellectual curiosity. I promise it won't derail everything. Sorry about that, Kate.
Okay.
Welcome back, Amy. Go ahead.
Yeah, Tamika?
Vince, can I say something? It's kind of like a mixed market. I don't think we can define this market.
Interesting.
Okay.
Like Brad was saying, it's like in our market, it's area by area. So certain areas that might be a buyer's market, and then
Okay, so you're thinking it's just sort of
be a seller's market.
Okay, it's the hyper local real estate. So it could be true that for the 20 people that said it's that, right? That's because that's what they're seeing, and they might not be working across different geographies. Okay.
And then we also have comments that the price reductions are tremendous. So that I'm sure is making a difference.
Excellent. And yeah, I am seeing comments right? Talking about the seller's market in the North Shore suburbs, mixed market. I agree from Ed, but prices are down. And then we did get some info here. Okay, so Maria Elena in New York says, in her area in New York, and Maria, I'm not sure where you are, but she says it's still a seller's market. Okay. Well, thanks for the comments, guys.
Yeah, so let's keep on trucking here. So we wanted to tell you about this survey that Matterport conducted in February of this year with home buyers and sellers across the nation to dig into these numbers a little bit more. So let's take a look at what we found.
Awesome. So we asked viewers, right, buyers, which tools were most important to aid in their buying decision. And not surprisingly, right, photography was still by far the most important. But then we saw 3D tours crop up as, sort of number 2 on that list, right? More important than floor plans, which was a huge surprise to us. Because historically, we see more agents requesting floor plans than 3D tours, right? It's on a really sizable percentage of our business. Overall, our stats show that less than 5% of listings even have a 3D tour. So think about what that means, right? The buyers are saying, hey, 3D tours, immensely useful. We like them, right? But only 1 in 20 listings even have one. So this represents a really great opportunity to stand out and deliver what the buyers are saying they want. We also, sort of to back this up, right? Because that's a survey looking at some more of the data. We see that home buyers spend more time viewing listings with 3D tours. In fact, looking at the studies and the data that we've been able to pull shows that for an average of a 2,400 square foot home, viewers spend an additional 4.5 minutes viewing a listing when it features a 3D tour than a listing without. So, you're capturing more of the interest, more of their time. I know everyone understands how important it is to increase the amount of time buyers spend looking at your listings. More time equals more interest, and more interest means your listing is connecting with their hearts and minds. You're grabbing mind share. And I think it's over to Lucy to ask Brad and Tamika a couple of questions.
Oh, yeah, sorry about that. I do have a couple questions. So let's start this time with Brad. How much more engagement do you see in your listings with 3D tours? And then I have another question for both of you. But let's start with you, Brad.
Sure. For me, I'd say the engagement is almost the sense of engagement is almost anecdotal as much as anything else. If I'm hosting showings or open houses at my listings, people say, "Oh, I really love the ability to take the 3D tour, whatever they call it, walk around before seeing the place, walk around on my laptop or whatever, right?" So you hear that, and then on the other side of it, and I know we'll talk about this for a thing later on, but my sellers appreciate it, right? Our goal is to avoid surprises when it comes to that sort of stuff. So if buyers and sellers are aligned and know that they have a better idea what they're going to see in person, that to me is worth it. And I get the anecdotal sense of engagement when people mention it to me.
What about you, Tamika? How much more engagement do you see? Yeah.
So from my perspective and my team's perspective, we're going with more of the social media. So we're seeing 50% increase in engagement. So you're talking about people who are forwarding our pictures, our Matterports, or they're in our what they call direct messages. They're asking questions. Other agents want to know who did this marketing for you. So this is what we're seeing. Oh, we're also seeing people commenting more, and that's just social media for us.
Do you put in your social media, are you incorporating the dollhouse, or how do you feature Matterport in your social media?
The dollhouse.
The dollhouse, yeah.
That's the crowd pleaser.
That's a great name for it, Tamika.
Right.
I have another question for both of you. Are you noticing more demand, let's say in the last 6 to 12 months, for 3D tours from your clients, buyers and sellers? Brad, let's start with you.
That's a great question. Again, the way that I measure a lot of stuff is mostly anecdotal. So I don't, sellers get excited when I show them other listings that I've been selling, and they see some of what went into that, the marketing and the ways that we're showcasing it. So yeah, the Matterport is, front and center. That and the listing video with me walking in a suit saying, "Let's go check it out." Those are the things that really drive that.
Oh, I see. So are you incorporating it in social media?
No, I need to learn about this dollhouse thing. I'm not really. I mean, I'll sometimes post the link.
Brad, it's pretty cool. It's super cool.
All right, we'll have to talk offline so you can educate me.
It's easy. Even I know how to do it, so you will definitely learn. Okay, so I believe now it's up to you, Tamika.
As far as the sellers, they don't really know about the marketing. So I'm excited when I introduce it to them, and then after they see it, they feel like, oh, my house is like in Home and Gardens, so they're pretty excited. So.
Great. Now it's to you, Vince.
All right, cool. So now that we've seen some of the data that kind of sets the stage for where we're at in the market, and we have a better understanding of how just some agents are using all that we have to offer, let's dive in and talk about what we can do to help you succeed. So I'm excited to say that now we've got more tools available than ever before to create the best possible online showing for your listings. Platinum, gold, and silver photography shot with a DSLR camera, 3D tours, video, drone, floor plans. It's really a full suite of tools to help you ensure that you have everything you need to successfully market your listings. And we can kind of start and jump in with what most people are most familiar with, right? Traditional photography. It's shot with a DSLR, it's shot by a professional photographer. At VHT, we offer 3 levels of photography, platinum, gold, and silver, but today we're going to highlight our most popular Gold Series with Matterport 3D tour and floor plan. So, I said Gold Series, it's our most popular, and there's a good reason for that, right? Like, what makes Gold the best? It starts with top talent, captured by seasoned professionals, right? The folks who we bring into the network come to us already great photographers. But then we put them through extensive education and photographic coaching that leads to what we call Gold certification. And really stunning imagery starts with composition. And, you can see a sampling of what I'm talking about on screen here. Our team just knocks it out of the ballpark with that. And then, outside of composition, right, how we actually frame the photograph, there's all the technical stuff, right? There's a whole lot that goes into creating a gold photograph. Each is comprised of 5 or more frames that get layered and merged by our studio team to create a final image that takes advantage of the complete range of light. There's all sorts of tech that we can talk here. I nerded out on the first dry run of this, and they cut it by 7 minutes. So we're not going to bore you with all those details. But what you need to know is there's a bunch of stuff that goes into making these photographs look as good as they do. And we really get to maximize brilliance, the detail, the clarity, right? When you choose VHT's Gold Photography Package, you have the option to enhance it with a Matterport 3D tour and floor plan. And that's something I want everybody to consider. And here's why, right? Like, a 3D tour enables potential buyers to explore the property virtually anytime from any location, providing an immersive 24/7 open house type experience. The 3D tour, or digital twin, which is, I want to start using that term a little bit more, allows viewers to navigate the space and truly visualize themselves living in the home. The most significant benefit of a 3D tour really lies in this, right? This is its ability to capture mind share of the potential buyers. There's an immense value in that. And, the ability to spend time and heavily consider a property really allows you to differentiate that from its competition. A Matterport-enabled property offers a level of information and engagement beyond anything else in the market, allowing that deep contemplation, allowing people to get home and really dig into it from the comfort of their couch, comfort of their desk. And really, I think it's a game changer when you're competing against listings that don't have this sort of stuff, right? Like, just think about, we've all looked at real estate outside of the work that we do on a daily basis. And, how many times have you looked at 10, 20, 30 listings and you almost can't remember which one's which because you've just got photographs, maybe you've got a floor plan, right? But which one had that great foyer that, I turned left right into the kitchen? That's all the stuff that you can't get from still media. 3D allows you to do that. I think it's also worth noting that we've brought in and trained a lot of our photographers. They've been skilled up in scanning properties for 3D, which means that we can do all of this in a single appointment, typically, streamlining the process. No need to have multiple appointments. So we've talked about gold photography. We've talked about 3D tours. I think it's also important to recognize floor plans, even though, I was surprised that buyers, right, online specifically, were calling out floor plans sort of third in place. Number one, third in place is pretty important, but I think it's important to recognize where floor plans really do provide a lot of value. On top of a 3D, or similar to 3D, you've got a pretty great straightforward illustration of the property's layout and dimensions. And when you order a 3D tour from VHT, when you get a Matterport with us, we're creating the floor plan automatically from that digital twin. Now, the killer sort of application, right? Like if you think about the dollhouse that we talked about and being able to navigate, a floor plan can give you online, it can give you a way cleaner, right? Easier, crisp, just the data view. But the other thing is, we're still in a world where people like to visit properties. We're still in a world where some agent down the block is printing up the MLS sheet for your listings. Floor plan is going to show up there. It's going to be part of your printed materials. It's going to be part of your leave behinds. So ultimately, creating that opportunity to create even more mind share when whoever it is, those buyers are sitting down with their partners to discuss, the 3 or 4 properties they looked at today. You now have something else on that show sheet, on that MLS printout that differentiates your listing from the rest. Now, Lucy, I feel like there's an opportunity to talk with Brad here.
Yeah, absolutely. So Brad, you are a big fan of gold photography and Matterport 3D tour. So tell us, why do you choose those tools to market your listing?
Sure. I mean, again, my goal, avoid surprises, right? I want people to walk in a listing and have it match with their expectations. And the more you can do that, the better, right? I mean, I'm seeing some people in the chat saying, sometimes they do Matterport and they feel like it drives in-person requests down. Well, maybe that's because that's a good thing in some ways, because we've all been on showings where you open up the door, you start showing the place, and the buyer immediately rules it out for something that they should have been able to discover online, right?
Yeah, so, let's just say that though, like in plain English, right? Like how great is that to drive down the 5 bad matches that might have come to that property? I love avoid surprises, and I love not wasting your time as an agent showing a property to a place for the wrong buyer, ultimately.
Right, exactly.
Cool. And we're doing a poll right now, asking the audience what percentage of their listings do they use 3D. So I'm just going to give it a couple more seconds here so we can check it out live. Let's see here.
While we're doing that, I would like to shout to our area sales manager, Eric Kuzo. He is right now at Howard Hanna Coach in Rockville Center watching our webinar. Well, thank you, Eric, for gathering a big crowd there. We appreciate it. And they're big users of Gold and Matterport, as a matter of fact, and some Digital Pro as well. Well, look at that.
So while you guys are running that poll, I'm just going to answer a quick question. And Kate, I think there's time at the end, so I won't do any more of these. But Michael asks, does anyone know if Matterport does virtual staging? So yes, you can get virtual staging done through VHT on the photography. There are third parties available. If you went to the Matterport website and looked at our partners, there's third parties who will virtually stage a 3D tour.
Hi, Carol. Carol O'Leary is here. We're happy to have him here, she said. Thank you, Carol. Yes, he is pretty awesome, right? Thank you. Sorry to step aside from the script.
Eric is blushing so hard right now. I wish, Carol, if you want to send me a picture of this, vince@vht.com, just send it right over. All right, let's get back onto the agenda, and let's talk about something else, right? We talked about traditional photography, and we talked about a lot of our individual services. I would like to take some time now to talk about our newest service, Digital Pro. We're going to talk about what makes that such an innovative and affordable choice. So Digital Pro is an entirely new kind of service. Rather than starting and offering traditional, photography through a traditional DSLR camera, our photographers that offer Digital Pro actually leverage the advanced capabilities of our 3D cameras, so the Matterport, specifically the Matterport 3D cameras, to scan every square inch of your property, generating a really comprehensive digital twin. And if you're not familiar with that term, right, because I've now said it a couple of times, a digital twin is essentially a virtual replica of your property that we use to create all of the media for your listing. So most people who are familiar with Matterport, and I see 54% of people use it today on their listings that are on this call. The showcase, right? The dollhouse, that presentation that you're familiar with, that is a view of the digital twin, right? So you can think of the digital twin as the data, right? And all of those assets behind it. And showcase is a really great view of it. But because we have all of this rich image data, all this 3D data through the digital twin, we're able to create our suite of assets that we offer through Digital Pro through that one scan created digital twin. So, let's talk about what that is, right? What do you get with Digital Pro? You get obviously photos, a 3D tour showcase where what we've been looking at this whole time, a floor plan and a preview video. Now we've already covered 3D tour and floor plan, so let's focus on the sort of two newer things, right? The things that differentiate Digital Pro, photos and the preview video. So I want to highlight that the photos that are part of Digital Pro service, it's really important to note all of these images, they're actually derived from the 3D tour, the digital twin. We're not using a DSLR. This is captured and this is pulled from and created from our digital twin from the property. So, one advantage that gives us is we can revisit the 3D model at any time to capture additional photos, with or without the need for a reshoot. If you've been working with professionals this whole time, I'm sure that out of every 10, 20 listings you've done, there's been situations where you've said, what, I really wish we could go back and shoot the third bathroom, right? The seller really invested in that. When we shoot with Digital Pro, we're capturing everything. So grabbing additional photographs isn't a problem. So unlike, traditional photography offerings, our editors are the folks crafting the compositions. So what the photographers do on site, our editors do a lot of offline. They're leveraging the 3D model of the property. They're essentially being a virtual photographer to create a composition. And just like any photography or visual media you see through VHT, image is everything, and every photo is meticulously enhanced and optimized by our studio team. So a lot of the, sort of key signature image attributes that you're used to through VHT or maybe, another professional photography source, you would see on a Digital Pro photo. This process ensures that the final results are nothing short of stunning, leaving a lasting impression on potential buyers. I also want to take some time talking about the preview video because this is a new asset that most of our clients haven't seen or utilized before. This teaser video is a great tool for social media and online advertising that offers just enough of the digital twin to catch someone's curiosity. So in designing this, right, this is a super quick video. This is a loop. I think it's 9 seconds, right? Is it 10 to 15 seconds, 9 to 15 seconds, Kate? I don't remember the exact, but this is a quick video. And the goal of this video is to recognize that we live in a world where everybody is posting everything to social media at all times. And it's all kind of the same, right? People are posting their photographs, usually the front exterior. Hopefully it's a good one, but there's not much that differentiates your listing from the rest when you're thinking about the rapid scroll of Facebook, Instagram, and everything else. So we included this snippet of the dollhouse, right? The 3D view of the space with the intention of literally just catching the eye and saying, hey, look at this one. Look at this home. This home has got something different, right? Only 1 in 20 listings today have a 3D tour. Even fewer of them are being, presented and promoted via social media in a way that takes advantage of the 3D twin, the 3D model.
Yeah, and Tamika, you are a big fan of Digital Pro, and I had a conversation with you a couple of weeks ago, and you were just raving about it. So I'm very excited to have you here to share your experience and tell us about why do you like that product so much?
I actually picked that product because of the snippet for social media, because I thought it was just so amazing. And I'm like, that's what I want because it's a game changer. And when Brad talked about time, everybody on this call, time is important. We can't get it back. So if you have a hot listing and it's multiple offers, you can sit there and send this to the agent who wants to go, oh, you want a second showing? You don't have time for a second showing. You know, this is going to be under contract. So that's the pro. It's amazing. And that's why I picked it.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Tamika. Well, we're coming full circle here to the end of our time together, and all comes back to standing out from your competition. That's probably the most important point. It all starts with the listing presentation. It is so important to really showcase all the efforts you are making to market the listing, and it's very important for you to separate yourself from others. And the tech forward strategy you are implementing and what you are doing that other agents don't do is extremely important as well. And to communicate it to your clients. Whether you are using Digital Pro or Gold Photography with 3D Tour and the floor plan, show them samples and absolutely back up your data with back up your strategy with the data that you have available. I would like to also to make sure that you are using our presentation flyer that we provide. Encourage homeowners to scan the QR code to check out the 3D tour and navigate all the efforts themselves in their real time, so they can do it on their own without you. And don't forget to give your sellers a handy home prep checklist, that's a mouthful, to make sure that the property is ready to go prior to the photographer arrival to make sure the best possible outcome. And that is really, I would recommend that not just for Digital Pro, not just for 3D tours, but for any photo shoot. Let our photographers shine and provide the best quality and let them share their talent with you to show what they can do. So that's important to prepare the property. Can't stress enough.
Yes, and I just shared links to both of those documents in the chat, so you're able to just click and download those PDFs and print them or share them. So yeah, be sure to do that. And I think now we're going to take some Q&A. So let's dig in here. I've been seeing tons of things come through. So let's see.
Yeah, please don't be shy. Ask the questions.
Let's see.
So Kate, if you want, I'll just pull one from the chat because I have a couple to filter through, right, and prioritize. So unfortunately, I'm going to break form. We'll do most recent one first, right? Ken, and you know what? Brad and Tamika, you guys are going to help me answer this one. So Ken asks, do you recommend a 3D tour on a property that's in poor condition? Right? And that's a good, like my answer today is different than it was just 2 years ago. What about you guys, Brad and Tamika? And then I'll give you guys my suggestion.
I would say, how poor condition is it? And you know, what are your goals and your seller's goals? I wouldn't rule it out. And I think, you know, I'm becoming comfortable using Matterport for more and more listings, not just, you know, the higher dollar ones that I want to make sure I showcase. I actually just sold a really poor condition house, and I would definitely not have used Matterport for it because I didn't feel like it was worth it. But I think it depends on the goals.
Okay. How about you, Tamika? Would you use a 3D tour on a home in poor condition?
I just had this conversation with my team because I am for it, because there's so many investors looking at properties and they're looking all over, especially our New Yorkers. They're looking here in Philadelphia. So it kind of gives them like a little sneak preview before to say, you know what, that's too much work, can't do it, all about time. And so I'm kind of like, I'm going to say a thumbs up. I think we should.
Good for you, Tamika.
Right, let me just throw in one thought I had there, right? Brad, when you said it depends on how poor of condition, I'm right there with you. Only in that, like, it's got to be safe, right? Like, you know, 100,000 homes a year, Every now and then I get a call, and my answer is get out of there, photographer, right? So first off, if we say poor condition, we mean cosmetically, right? Sure, absolutely. You know, I'm so glad you were both on the call, right? Because one of the things that Brad said earlier is he likes to avoid surprises. And that's the best solution for that. Remember that when we create a 3D tour, when we capture or create that digital twin, we do capture everything, right? So home prep is super important, but also truth in real estate, right? We want to capture it as is. We want to avoid surprises. You know, and again, it's not about getting as many people to, you know, show up at the space as possible. It's about getting the right buyers. So show it in the condition that it's in, for sure. My answer was yes, too.
Thank you, Vince. I have a question here from Daniel, and it's to you, Kate. Is there data regarding days on the market for listings with Matterport versus without Matterport? Do we have that data?
Yeah, we can definitely share. I've seen a few people in here wanting links to stats. So look for that in the email that you'll get tomorrow with the link to this video, and we'll share out all the good information to you.
Okay, then we have another question. I've used Matterport before, but sometimes the pictures are distorted. Are you using Digital Pro with VHT Studios, or you just pulling it yourself? Because we edit every single photo, so our photos are not distorted, as I understand, unless it was an accident. So we make sure that all the walls are straight, the sky is blue, the grass is green. So maybe you can come back to us after the show and we can take it one-on-one. And then for homes under construction, would you make 3D floor plan before it's ready? So as long as you have walls and we can scan things and we can provide the floor plan, you will have the floor plan, but you need to have new construction at least semi-ready for us to scan the property. I'm not sure if I answered your question, Mark.
Cool. I saw a couple more. Let's take a couple more and then we're gonna have to wrap up. Let's see. Joseph asked if he, the agent, owns the rights to all the photos, video, and 3D tours, or does VHT own them?
Sure. So I can address that. So there is a little bit of it depends in that, you know, depending on the brokerage firm themselves and their agreement with VHT Studios. But what I can say categorically across most of our business, VHT Studios owns all of the intellectual property rights to, or intellectual property that we create. So every photograph we do retain ownership from, ownership of. That allows us to protect your interests as an agent, as well as deal with the copyright infringement lawsuits that come from time to time. With that said, you as the agent, you get a license to utilize any of the media we create, A, to sell and market your listing, and B, to market yourself as an agent. So you really have everything you need. Now, in the case of the digital twin, depending on if you have a Matterport account set up and we transfer that digital twin to your Matterport account, you might end up owning the digital twin outright. But you can generally understand that 100% of the time, unless it's called out differently, we own the assets and you've got your license to the assets. Your license gives you everything you need, and our ownership allows us to protect your rights.
All right, let's take one more from Angela. She was asking if 3D is the same as a 360-degree virtual tour.
So great question. No, it's not. So, you know, the 3D, the digital twin that we create, while there is some familiarity, right? If we've all been in the industry long enough to remember the days of 360, there's some familiar look and feel to that, but it is a complete world of difference, right? The 3D tour has a full 3D model of your home in the system and allows us to really navigate within that kind of in any direction. It also allows a whole lot more utility, right? Allowing the viewer to pull accurate measurements from the model and all this other stuff. A 360 is really just a giant image or a series of images stitched together that allow you to kind of spin around in place. So while you can look in 360 degrees within a Matterport 3D tour, we've got so much more behind it that adds value.
Kate, I would like to take one more quick question. Is the digital twin, can it be a tool that we can use to challenge on assessors' information about the property? So when we provide you with measurements and with all the details, it's the property inside. So as I understand, the assessment can also include outside. And then there are discrepancy. Are you including the garage? Like we can include the garage in our 3D tour, or the basement, like if the basement is the attic, counts as a square footage. So when we provide you with all the information, it's really up to you to decide what legally and you should be using, and what do you prefer to use in your marketing material, what square footage you want to include, and how you would like to determine what is right and what is not. So I would say not really, but it does help if there is something that you can challenge is included in our 3D tour.
Well, I will add to that, right? So if I got it correctly, Lucy, you're moving at one coffee faster than me today. So I want to make sure I got the question right. So the question was, can we use the digital twin to challenge somebody's assessment of the space or an appraisal of the space?
Right.
And what I would say to that is, absolutely, right? You can use that to collaborate and have that conversation, right? So if there is a question of square footage, if there is a question of features, this is where, having a digital twin shines, because you can sit down at a computer on the phone with somebody, look at it, measure the distance between point A and point B, really collaborate. And let's all recognize, right? Like the financial industry, right? The mortgage industry, they're starting to really look at this technology, right? Just a year ago, Fannie and Freddie started allowing digital appraisals, or desktop appraisals as they're called. That's huge. And a lot of that exists because of technologies like this, as well as floor plans being more accurate. So I'm not going to give legal advice, right, as far as challenging an assessment goes, but having a conversation to make sure there's a shared understanding of the space. Absolutely. This is what this technology.
I totally agree. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just don't include the outside.
We're so thankful for you guys to have been here today. We hope you got something out of this. We had a lot of fun chatting, and that is our show for you today.
Awesome.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Lucy, thank you. Brad, Tamika, thank you so much for being here.
guys.
And good to see you guys.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you to the audience. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.